Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Gromkowski. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Graduate Admissions at William Patterson University. I want to thank all of you for taking time to join us this evening for our College of Education webinar. Obviously, I know many of you had registered and planned to join us on our campus for the event, and certainly we find ourselves in very unique times. So we are thankful to have the opportunity to still have you join us in the form of a webinar. It's certainly our hope that this is a very helpful modality, a way for you to get a lot of information in a relatively short amount of time. We're going to cover a lot and certainly try and keep it reasonably short, all things considered. A couple things, sort of housekeeping things as we go through. First of all, I think it's very important to keep you up to date on what's going on at William Patterson right now. I know some of you are a part of the William Patterson community. You may be getting regular updates on what's been happening. For our spring classes right now, they are being taught remotely through the end of this semester. And our faculty and staff are operating right now on a remote work schedule through April 3rd. So for right now, as you might imagine, email is a great way to reach us for the graduate admissions office, for program directors within the College of Ed. That is probably the fastest way to get hold of us. You can always call us too. Leave a voicemail. Certainly we'll be quick to respond back to you. And for the grad admissions office, you can always text us too. And some of that information will be made available to you in just a short amount of time. And as some of you may have seen in the news, as of Wednesday, the William Patterson campus has one of the drive-up testing facilities in Passaic County for COVID-19 in one of our parking lots. So obviously, if we have to not be able to be there for reasons far beyond our control, we're thankful that our campus is being used for a very vital purpose right now for those who need it and are able to get quick tests for themselves and their loved ones. So that's sort of where we stand right now. We are moving forward with our summer session, which begins May 26th. And our fall semester, which begins September 2nd. We'll talk a little bit about some of that in just a moment. The other thing I want to make sure that you're aware of is we are recording this presentation in its entirety. I know everyone is juggling lots right now, from remote work schedules, caring for family members, teaching little ones who might be at home with you now. We're very sensitive to that. So that's another reason that we hope this is a very helpful medium to give you the information that you need. We're going to be sharing an email with you by the end of the evening that includes a link to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to go back at your convenience, whether you have to leave early for one reason or another, preparing dinner, whatever the case may be, or if you need to refer back to any of this information, if you join us a little bit late, we want to make sure you have the opportunity to do so. And finally, as we go through, you're able to type questions in the chat box there on the GoToWebinar screen. And we have several members, faculty, chairs, members of the graduate admissions team here. We are going to field your questions towards the end of the presentation. We're going to type responses as we go through. So if you have any questions, if you want us to elaborate on anything from the presentation, feel free at any point to type them in the chat box. And then as we get towards the tail end of the presentation, we're going to make sure that we get you the questions and the information that would be most helpful for you. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into things and just go over our first couple slides, and we'll introduce those that are going to be joining us for the presentation. So we have Dr. McNeal, Dr. Rosenthal, and Dr. Mongillo who are joining us from the College of Ed. You can see their roles on campus as well as their contact information there, as well as Francisco Colon, who is one of our assistant directors of graduate admissions, and he is a liaison for the College of Business. So any of you who may have applied up to this point, any of you might apply in the future, he is a great point of reference for you and a contact person. Everything from tomorrow to a month from now. He's a good point of contact in our office as we work through this. I think it's very important for you to see that we have a very expansive list of programs within the College of Ed on the graduate level. We were founded as a normal school. College has been, education has been a big part of what we do and continues to be. So I wanted you to have the chance to really quick eyeball the slide and see all of the many programs that we offer here. You can see all of our certificate programs on this first slide, and I'm going to click through in just a second so you can see our master's, our M.Ed programs, and have a very wide offering for you to consider as you think about obviously advancing within your career, whether you want to add on to the experience that you've had or whether you're considering being a first-time teacher. So you can see our master's programs, our MAT programs, our MED programs. And again, we're adding new programs all the time. We'll speak about a number, but we have a new MED Curriculum and Learning with STEAM, one of our newest programs. And we have some offerings that are going to become available for the first time online that we're going to talk about a little bit as well. So we're very excited to continue to add new programs based on the needs of educators throughout the state of New Jersey. WP Online, which I referenced before, this is going to be the first time that we offer a series of programs on the graduate level online in its entirety. And you can see the list of programs at the top are some of our programs that are going to be available online, including our MA in Higher Education Administration with a focus on leadership studies. Our MED in Ed Leadership is going to be online, as well as non-certificate, and our MED in Special Education Autism Spectrum. What you can see below is a list of what the terms are going to look like. They're going to be broken down by 7-week sessions. And some of our programs online are going to be available as soon as summer session 2, which will be beginning in July. And some others are going to come online for the first time in the fall semester, which will begin for fall session 1, September 7th. We're very excited to have these offerings come online for our students. It's going to make a whole realm of opportunities for those that maybe had some challenges from a scheduling standpoint to physically be on campus. We want to make sure that if online works best for you, that you have that opportunity moving forward. So there'll be way more details to follow, but we wanted to make sure you knew if you're considering one of these programs, perhaps online might work better for you. For some, you prefer to be on campus, and that'll still be an opportunity for those students that prefer the physical on-campus programs for, say, the fall semester. But we wanted to make sure you knew we're going to have online offerings as well. And then just a quick note about some of our traditional semesters. We have our summer session, like I mentioned, that's coming up beginning on May 26th. And it's a unique semester in and of itself that there are 3-week, 4-week, 6-week, and 12-week courses that will take place throughout the summer. It's also broken up into different sessions. So for those that are considering studies in the summer, please know that registration is open and ongoing. So you could register if you've already been accepted and you haven't had the opportunity to do so tonight. And for those that might be applying, maybe you've already applied, you're waiting to complete your application, just know that registration is open and ongoing. So as soon as you received an acceptance from us, you'll be able to register through WP Connect, choose from the wide array of classes that we have available and what works best for your schedule, and get registered. So you're all set come the start of the semester on May 26th. You'll see that our fall semester begins September 2nd. Our winter session, which typically take place in December into mid-January, will begin December 28th. And for those looking a little bit further out, the spring 2021 semester is going to begin in January of 2021. Applying, the first thing I'd want everybody to know is each of our graduate programs have a different set of requirements. They may require different supplemental documents, different certifications. Some may require a recommendation letter, some may not. So in all instances, I recommend going onto the graduate admissions website. And if you do, there's a page called Program Deadlines and Requirements. And you can click on any of our programs and see what the specific application requirements are for those particular programs. Each includes a $50 application fee. You do have to complete the application online in its entirety. And then also know that certainly right now we are very sensitive to the fact that it is not always easy to get documents to us, particularly paper documents that you might have. So I would stress certainly over the next few weeks, if nothing else, whenever possible, do try and get your documents to us digitally. If they are a recommendation letter, if they are a professional resume or curriculum vitae, you can always attach them as a PDF or a Word document and send them to graduate@wpuNJ.edu, as you can see there on the screen. And please know that we are trying to be as flexible as possible right now. As I mentioned, we know it's not always easy to get documents to us. Whenever possible, we are making exceptions and trying to accommodate individual needs of our students to ensure that you're able to get us the documents that you need, that we're able to process them quickly, and we're able to complete your application, review it, and provide you with an admissions decision as quickly as we can. If you are working with your college or university, keep in mind that the registrar's office and other departments on campus are often able to give us an electronic copy of the transcripts directly, so that you don't have to worry about sending things by post or the delay that might come with it. Many testing agencies and credential evaluation services will submit documents to us electronically. So do look for those resources as well to ensure, again, right now there are not many individuals on campus. We're not getting documents by post every day. So that'll help expedite the process. And again, we're looking to work with you. Many tests are starting to become available online, whether it's GRE, TOEFL, IELTS. A lot of testing agencies are making exceptions to the rule right now to help accommodate the needs of students, and we are working with them and with our applicants to make sure that we're able to process your documents. So I am now going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Julie Rosenthal, who's going to walk you through some of her programs.
Good evening, and thank you so much for your interest in William Patterson College of Education graduate programs. My name is Dr. Rosenthal, Dr. Julie Rosenthal, and I will be talking about the Master of Arts in Teaching programs, which are all initial certification programs for bachelor degree holders. In other words, they're for people who do not yet have a teaching license and are pursuing a teaching license. The program provides a master's degree with a teaching license en route. The options include K6 elementary. There's also the possibility to do K6 elementary with the 5 through 8 subject certification. Those programs look the same at 33 credits each, and it's really just a matter of your undergrad work as well as practice exams that would make the difference in those two programs. We also offer a range of K12 subject area programs. Can you go back? Which depends on what you did your undergrad in. These programs can be pursued either through our internship, where you do a residency within a school that we place you in, or it is possible to also pursue these programs through the alternate route, so that if you're a CE holder, a certificate of eligibility holder, and you get a job as a teacher of record, you can use your teaching position rather than an internship to fulfill the clinical requirements. All of these programs are run as a cohort, 15 months, starting in May and running through the following August. Next. Okay, so I touched on the fact that there's 3 different programs available. We have K12 subject area, and so hopefully on this slide you see the subject area that you're interested in. World languages, there are a range of them, but as you can see, there are a range of K12 subject area programs, K6 elementary, and the K6 with middle school. Please note too, for those of you who might be seeking ultimately to become special education teachers, that the K6 program includes credits towards the TSD endorsement, so that you complete the K6 MAT program and then have already completed part of the TSD endorsement program and can continue by applying to the TSD endorsement program as an add-on so that you can earn the TSD as well. Thank you. Next. Okay, so for all of these programs, the eligibility requirements, application requirements look somewhat the same, and they are that you need to have completed your undergraduate degree. So if you're completing in May, you still are eligible to enter this program. The state does require a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or better, although if you have a GPA between 275 and 299, I ask that you reach out to me because we may be able to make something work. You need to have passed the Praxis Core Test as well as the Praxis 2. Again, with the understanding that many testing centers are currently closed, we are trying to work with students who have not yet taken the Praxis, and provided you meet other requirements, such as the completed degree, that GPA requirement that we need to talk about, you would still be eligible. So please reach out to me in certain circumstances where you may not have completed the Praxis. I can work with you. Thank you. Next. So an overview of the program. These programs run as cohorts. So there's only the one starting date, which is May. They run as a 15-month cohort beginning in that summer 1, May 26th this year. The first summer for all of these programs include 9 credits of coursework. All of our courses are offered in the evening and online. And with the summer piece, you have a 50-hour preclinical observation. For those of you who are considering going alternate route, you may have heard of the preclinical requirement, the 50-hour pre-service requirement. Those observation hours and the class credits fulfill that requirement. So it is, again, 9 credits of coursework plus some school observations in that first summer semester. During the fall and spring semester, candidates are in either their clinical practice placement, a school that we identify for you, and you work with a cooperating teacher and you do your clinical practice residency, or if you are pursuing the program through the alternate route, we observe you in your position as teacher of record. And along with that time in schools, you also complete 9 credits of coursework, both in the fall and spring semester. If you're doing clinical practice or residency, you are in a school 3 days per week in the fall and then 4 days per week in the spring. Obviously, if you're alternate route, you are in your position as teacher of record, so you're there full time. Then finally, in the final summer, you complete your capstone. It's 3 credits to do the capstone for the K12 program. It's 6 credits to do the capstone for the K6. I can explain that more fully if you have questions on that when we coordinate individually by email or by chat at the end of the session. If you are pursuing the program through the alternate route, note that we need to observe you for a second year in your position of teacher of record, because the state does require 2 successful years as teacher of record under your provisional license before you can be licensed. So it's 1 year of our residency versus 2 years in your job as teacher of record if you are pursuing this through the alternate route. Next. Okay, and I just want to speak a little more about the clinical practice, the clinical experience and the clinical practice, just so that there's clarity on that. All teacher candidates must complete clinical experience hours during that first summer. So for those of you who are not yet working in schools, we placed you, through our Office of Field Experience, we placed you in 2 different settings in schools that we work with for those summer hours, where you go into the schools and make observations, etc. Obviously, and I'm sorry, I'm speaking in our normal, we're going to be setting up some kind of observations remotely, clearly. But for those of you who are working, who have been working in schools full time as paraprofessionals or aides, etc., we can use some of the hours that you've already done in schools, or perhaps some of your coordination with teachers that you might be working with if you're working in schools, to fulfill those observation hours. So that's actually something that has yet to unfold, how we're going to be doing that 50 hours, because we don't know when schools are reopening, but we will work with you, whether it's through video or what have you, through that to complete that 50-hour requirement, that state requirement in the first summer. During your clinical practice, whether you're alternate route or going through our residency, you're going to be assigned a university supervisor. So we have someone come into the schools to observe you, work with you to improve your teaching practice, etc. Either way, whether you're going through our residency or if you are in your position of teacher of record and going alternate route, you do need to submit applications for clinical practice to our Office of Clinical Experience. And then if we're placing you, we place you in a range of settings. People are often curious, where do we place? We try to place you in a place that is considerate of where you live. We don't want you traveling an inordinate amount of time. So we do have various placements geographically, and our Office of Field Experiences works with you to place you in a school that will be amenable to your needs. And again, you're in the same school setting for the clinical practice 1 and 2, and you go from 3 days a week to 4 days a week. And if you are hired as a teacher of record under your CE, we observe you in your school, in the hiring, in your district. So hopefully I've made that clear. Thank you. Next, I think that might be it for me. And I am now going to introduce you to Dr. Kelly McNeal, who will be talking to you about programs offered by the Department of Special Education and Counseling.
Hi, my name is Kelly McNeal, and I'm the Chair of Special Education and Counseling. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, especially during these difficult times. I'm going to talk to you about the programs offered in the Department of Special Ed and Professional Counseling. The goal of the programs in our department is to provide the New Jersey State approved coursework leading to licensure in special education programs and professional counseling programs. So the first program that I'm going to talk to you about is a program that leads to the certification as the Teacher of Students with Disabilities certification. And the classes for these programs start in September, they start in January, and they also start in both summer sessions. And the classes are held year-round, and they're offered in face-to-face formats, hybrid formats, and during the summer, they're all online. Next slide. So the course requirements for the certification part to become a licensed special education teacher are 21 credits. There's 7 courses, and the final course is a 3-credit course, which is a clinical. And there are 2 routes to this certification. One is a traditional route, and the one is an alternate route where your clinical would be done in your own classroom where you're practicing as a special education teacher. If you wanted to pursue the master's in special education, you could go on to do another 15 credits, which include 6 credits of thesis, and then you would earn a master's in special education with the TSD concentration. Next slide. So in order to get into the full program, the 36 credits, you need a bachelor's degree from an accredited university, and you need to submit your transcripts. You need a GPA of a 3.0. And in order to get into all of these programs, you need to have a CAS or standard teaching license. So these programs are for people who are already teaching or holding a standard or CEAS. So you need to be a pre-K to 3 teacher, a K6 teacher, a K12 teacher, or an ESL teacher. This is the same thing with if you just want to get the certification or if you want to go alternate route to become a special ed teacher. So again, you must already have a teaching license. If you just want to get the certification, the GPA is a little bit different. You can have a 2.75 GPA. And the same thing with the TSD certification. All of these programs also require that you have a group interview. In order to get into the alternate route, you need to have verification or a promise of employment in a state-approved educational setting. And you also need to have hold a CE as a TSD. Next slide. Before I go on to talk about the LDTC program, if you have any questions about the TSD program or the Master's in Education in TSD, you can reach out to the program director, which the email will be given at the end of this presentation. You can reach out to me, my email is given, or you can ask questions in the chat at the end of this presentation. So the next program I'm going to talk about is the LDTC program. There are 2 different programs. You can earn the endorsement only, which is a 30-credit program, or you can earn the Master's of Education in LDTC, which is a 39-credit program. Next slide. The Master's in Education in Learning Disabilities, the full LDTC program, is really for people who don't have a master's because the LDTC requires a master's. It requires a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university, official transcripts, a cumulative GPA of a 3.0. You must have a standard instructional license in regular education. You must also be a certified special ed teacher. It also requires the rope form. You have to have documentation of at least 3 years full-time teaching and a group interview. In order to just get the certification, You have to have documentation that you already have a master's degree. You have to have a standard instructional license as a special ed teacher. And again, you have to have the rope form and have a group interview. Next slide, please. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about our Master's in Education and Professional Counseling. This leads to licensure. We have 2 concentrations, and these lead to licensure as a clinical mental health counselor or a school counselor. Both of these are 60 credits, and both of our programs are K12 accredited. The classes are held year-round in face-to-face, hybrid, and online formats. Next slide. For admission to both of the concentrations, you must have a bachelor's degree from an accredited college, an undergraduate average GPA of not less than 2.75 on a 4.0 scale, or a master's degree from an approved college or university and a GPA of at least a 3.0, a written essay, an interview with one of our counseling faculty, an in-person writing sample, and 2 professional recommendations. Next slide. This gives you an idea of the course of study for both the mental health concentration and the school counseling concentration. And again, both of them are 60 credits. And for follow-up questions for all of our programs in the Department of Special Education, here are the graduate program directors' email addresses. Okay, now I'm going to introduce my colleague, Dr. Geraldine Mongillo, and she's from the Department of Educational Leadership and Professional Studies.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate the introduction. And like my colleagues, I would like to welcome everyone tonight. Thank you for taking your time to learn more about our graduate programs and advanced programs here at William-Paterson University. And you will see that the Department of Educational Leadership and Professional Studies houses multiple programs, both MEDs, Masters, the Arts, and certification. Next, please. We offer, as I said, a variety of programs to meet graduate students' personal and professional goals, including educational research, teaching, supervising, and providing leadership as directors, principals, librarians, or curriculum specialists at all levels of instruction. Courses are offered on campus, online, and hybrid. Next, please. So some of the degrees more specifically are the M.A. in higher education. This is, I'll talk about a little bit on another slide in a little more detail, just overview. The M.Ed. in curriculum and learning has multiple concentrations, it's bilingual, ESL, early childhood education, school library media, school nursing, and STEAM. We also have an M.Ed. in educational leadership that is offered in a variety of modalities, and it also has some unique and different offerings within the program itself. The M.Ed. in literacy or reading is also a 33 credit program, which leads to New Jersey certification as a reading specialist. So in addition to your master's, you also get that certification upon completion of the program. Next, please. Okay, and here are some of the certificates and endorsements that I was just talking about. So as you can see, there's principal, associate school library media, which and school library media specialist. There are actually about 6 different certifications, so this would really make more sense to have an in-depth conversation with the director of the program to see which of these SLM programs suits you best. We have just the reading specialist grad certificate if you already have a master's and you're interested in becoming a reading specialist. Same thing, the certificate in bilingual and or ESL. STEAM was mentioned earlier, I believe, by my colleague. STEAM is new. We're excited about it. There's been a great deal of interest. This is currently a hybrid program. This is so much hands-on going on with robotics and art and a variety of other things. So at this moment, it's hybrid. And this also could be a certificate, is in addition to an M.Ed. And finally, we have the supervisory endorsement, which is also New Jersey State certification. And most of our M.Ed. programs are designed that if you just take 2 more courses, you can receive this supervisory endorsement as well. So 2 of the courses in your M.Ed. would count towards the supervisory endorsements, and then you take an additional 2 for a total of 4 courses and 12 credits. So you would have the supervisory endorsement. Next. Some exciting programs we've been talking about that are coming. Very excited about the Ed doctorate in leadership, and that's currently in the pipeline, scheduled to begin in the summer of 2021. So I could certainly speak to anyone, on an individual level who wants more details about this doctorate, but we feel like it's unique because if you notice, it's in leadership. So there's a variety of types of leadership we're thinking of: community leaders, professional leaders, not simply, educational leaders, but of course K12 as well. We're also working right now on a teacher leader certification because that program has been approved. The certification has been approved by the New Jersey Department of Education. We've been told that there is great interest in this cert. This cert we're designing will be 1 year, take 1 year to complete. It will be 12 credits. And again, more information will be forthcoming on that. We've talked a little bit about WP Online. This will be a fully online programs. We'll be adding educational leadership and higher ed administration, both in 30 credit programs when we begin this program, hopefully fully online in the summer. Next, please. Okay, and I've talked a little bit about these M.E.Ds in curriculum learning already. These are the concentrations. I'd like to point out that school library media is fully online, no matter which strand you're taking. I've talked about the STEAM being obviously hybrid, and we have another new program, so teaching and writing for P12. And this is going to be WP Online, fully online program. And that hopefully will be starting in the fall semester. Next, please. Okay. You have an MA in higher education. This master's degree in higher ed admin is really an advanced, in-depth study of the history, the structure, the organization, and the administration of colleges and universities in the United States. The program is designed to enhance professional and career development, current and future managers, leaders, and executives within institutions of higher education. It is a 30-credit program. Its focus is on leadership, and it is a cohort model designed to be completed in 2 years. Again, that's our on-campus version of the program, and we did discuss a little bit that it will be coming soon to the fully online program, but this is a hybrid program on campus. Next, please. Okay. And the M.E.D. in literacy, this program is one of our stellar programs for over 60 years. We have been working with reading specialists and all throughout New Jersey. And it is a 33-credit program. This is just a sample of some of the courses that you would be taking. And again, it's important to point out that when you graduate, you get both the master's degree and the New Jersey certification as reading specialists. Next, please. Oh, I wanted just to add about the literacy program, could also be fully online as well. And the M.Ed in educational leadership is offered in a variety modalities as well, depending on what it is that actually you need. Some people just to take the 34 credit program, which would lead to the M.Ed plus the New Jersey supervisor certification and eligibility for principal CE. In addition, there are 10 free-credit courses. That's your curriculum and your supervision piece. And then the inclusion of a 300-hour internship, which is required by New Jersey Department of Education. Ed Leadership Program is also hybrid, fully online and face-to-face. It's rolling admissions, fall, spring, summer starts. And 2 to 6 years, the program may be completed, just designed in this fashion, as I'm describing here now. Again, the WP Online, which is the 100% online coursework, that's scheduled to begin in July. That will be rolling admissions with 6 starts per calendar year, and the program completion could be as little as 12 months. Next, please. Okay. So for the MEDs, basically the mission requirements is the 3.0 GPA and a copy of a CEAS or standard teaching license, depending on the program that you're in. So some of that will be discussed individually, obviously. You know, school library media, there are exceptions to that requirement. So it's best to discuss that with the director of the specific program that you're interested in. It also includes the participation and satisfactory completion of a group interview, which is online. The MA in higher ed has slightly different requirements. They ask for 3PO, which is preferred 3.0. But they require a resume and two references, which is somewhat different than the other requirements. Next, please. Okay. Well, I'd like to say thank you very much. And if you have any questions, listed here are the individual directors of each of the programs we've discussed. And of course, you can reach me as well. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Just want to go over a couple things real quick. I know a few of you might have joined us a couple minutes late, so I just want to reiterate a couple things that we went over so you're familiar. First and most importantly, I want to make sure you know that we did record this presentation in its entirety, and we are going to be making it available to everyone who is invited to take part in this webinar by this evening. So you'll be getting an email to your inbox that includes a link to our YouTube channel. If you joined us a little bit late, if you had to duck out early, you'll have the opportunity to go back and review all of this at your leisure whenever you have a few moments to do so. The other thing, as we stressed before, and I would want to reiterate again, if you have any questions at all for any of our faculty members that are in attendance, graduate admissions staff, please go ahead now and type them in the chat box there on the GoToWebinar screen. We'll be working through the questions one by one and making sure we're able to give you the answers and the information that would be most helpful for you. So don't be shy, don't hesitate at all to type any questions that you have as we go through. That concludes the formal part of our presentation, but please know we're going to be sticking around for a while to field your questions. I can't thank all of you enough for taking time to join us today. I want to reiterate, we want to see you on campus soon. It is a beautiful time of year in the spring with everything budding and blooming on campus, and I hope, as everyone else does, that there'll be the chance in the very near future for you to be on campus, for us to have a follow-up event where we can meet with you face-to-face. We understand that these are very difficult times, and certainly wanted to make sure that we were able to still give you an experience that we hope you found helpful, to still answer those questions for you, to still get the chance to converse one-on-one back and forth. Certainly, like I said, we know this is no substitute for a physical on-campus program, but it's our hope that this was helpful for you. So please continue to get your questions in. Type them in as you have them. We're going to go and we're going to answer them one by one as we go through. And again, I can't thank you enough for taking time to join us. And we're looking forward for the opportunity to review your applications if you haven't already applied in the very near future. Whether it's the summer session coming up, the fall semester, there are a lot of opportunities. We have a lot of wonderful programs. We have very dedicated faculty that are here to work with you and on behalf of the admissions staff to answer any questions that you might have now. So thank you again. Have a wonderful evening and keep those questions coming. We're here. We want to answer them for you. Take care.